What's going on, everybody? My name is Colson, and I'm here to tell you all about a disastrous RTT that I just had at my local gaming store. I took Emperor's Children, and I went 0-3. Let's get into it. I play all my games at Texas Toy Soldier. It's in Carrollton. We have a ton of fun over there, and I highly recommend the store. Additionally, there's a great Discord server for the group, and if you are interested in joining and you're in the Texas Carrollton area, feel free to reach out, and you can get connected with a great group of guys and players. Now, what makes this catastrophic loss at my local RTT even more catastrophic is the fact that I'm actually not new to the competitive scene. I'm not new to competitive 40K at all. I'm just not good at it. And I thought I'd share with you a couple of the reasons why. It's not an issue with buying all the new kits or buying the new models or buying, I should say, the new rule packs. I've got Arcs of Omen. I have 10 Possessed. I have 10 Terminators. I have all the normal stuff that a Chaos player would have. I think one of my issues is game mechanics and deployment. So prior to the tournament, I decided to have a practice game. So I scheduled one on my local Discord, and I wrote a list. In my list, I had 10 Terminators, 10 Possessed, and a Dark Apostle with Illusory Supplication to give them Advanced and Charge. I also had a Master of Possession to give Pact of Flesh to my Terminators so I could res them. I put a lot of thought into my list, and the game actually went surprisingly well. I played Flesh Terrors. I had a Chaos Lord with a Black Mace who was able to deep strike in on turn 2 and take out a whole unit of Sanguinary Guard. I also had my 10 Terminators go, and they went up the mid-board and took out Gabriel Seth, who was surprisingly hanging out all by himself. My 10-man Possessed squad then charged a Redemptor Dreadnought, and it exploded. Luckily, my Master of Possession was able to cast Pact of Flesh to heal any of the wounded Possessed. While my Cultists were able to go back and raise the banners, my Demon Prince and Lucius the Eternal were able to go up and score me Adorn the Canvas Eclectic. All in all, I was able to control more, and I outscored my opponent 56-30. The Flesh Terrors player turned out to be a great sport, and we quickly became friends. We decided to sign up for the next week's RTT that happened to be a doubles tournament. Now begins the story of how I went 0-3 at the said tournament. The tournament had a couple stipulations, the first of which that we could only take 1,000 points each, and they each had to be from a different codex. Naturally, I took Emperor's Children, and my friend took Flesh Terrors. I was feeling pretty confident about my list, so I didn't change too much in that I was able to just bring Possessed, Terminators, and Dark Apostle, and my Master of Possession. And I was excited about that, and I felt pretty good going into the RTT. Unfortunately, things were about to take a turn for the worse, as I was not nearly as prepared or ready for the highly competitive scene that I was about to go into. Nevertheless, it was so much fun, and I think it actually turned out to be a great learning experience for me. In summary, the tournament was 2,000 points per team, and each had to bring a different codex. It was an exciting tournament, and I couldn't wait to start. Now let's briefly look at my 1,000-point Emperor's Children list. I had a Chaos Lord in Terminator armor with the Emperor's Children unique Warlord trait that gives him Fight on Death. He had the Black Mace so that he could dish out some more damage. And then I had a Dark Apostle with Illusory Supplication, which would allow my Possessed to advance and charge. And then I had the Master of Possession with Pact of Flesh so that I could obviously res my Terminators, as I have said before. Moving on to troops, I just had 5 Noise Marines with, I believe, either bolt guns or chainswords, and then I had a 10-man Cultist squad. Next, I had Chaos Terminators with the Black Rune of Damnation, and then I had a 6-man Possessed squad. We lost the first game to the Astra Militarum and the Knights. We had a lot of fun. Our opponents were great sports. I think I learned a lot in that you got to be careful with how you deploy. I wanted to re-upload this because I actually got the number of Leman Russes wrong last time. We played against 2 Tank Commander Leman Russes, 2 regular Leman Russes, 1 Leman Russ, and a Hydra. And we got, I tabled in turn 4 or 5, I believe. Our second game was interesting in that we played a guy who was the ringer for the event, meaning that he wasn't planning on playing unless someone dropped out. However, this ringer turned out to be the TO for the Lone Star Open. Also, not a good showing for us as we played against Black Templars and another, guess what, Imperial Knight. We got beat pretty bad, and it wasn't a very close game. I sent the Possessed up the midboard. They got shot by the Knight, and the Black Templars were able to control most of the objectives for the entire game. Again, another big loss. One thing I will say is that the Imperial Knight Domitus puts in the work. It honestly took out about 1,000 points, and my opponent and I did not have a way of dealing with it since it just basically sat at the back of the table and was able to shoot us from there. We tried to deep strike some Sanguinary Guard and Terminators back there to fight it, but it did not go over well since we didn't have the AP or the damage output necessary to take it out. So the Imperial Knight Domitus is just a scary knight, and if you should do your best to not interact with it at all or be able to take it out very swiftly. With our backs aching and our feet killing us, we rolled up to our third game. We played Leagues of Votann and Black Templars again. This was a very close game, and we had cultists in the back that were raising banners. My Terminators deep struck in and were able to cause havoc in our opponent's back line. And all in all, we just really fought it out to the very end. What made this game particularly interesting was that my partner had the Blood Angels secondary, which is Battlefield Supremacy, which is at the end of your turn, score 4 victory points if there are more Blood Angels / Flesh Tearers units from your army in your opponent's deployment zone than there are enemy units in your deployment zone. And we were able to score that twice, which made it a closer game, and we ended up actually losing 51-41. So what did I learn from going 0-3 at my local RTT? I think, yes, I should have practiced more. I should have learned a little bit better what the meta was going to be. But I don't think it's just that. I think there's a little bit more going into it than I initially thought. I did have a good list. The reality of it is I had that practice game, and it went well. I had written the list tailored to sort of what I thought the meta was going to be. But I really just wasn't ready for it. I wasn't expecting to face 8 or 9 Leman Russ tanks and baby knights. It was just, it was a little bit too much for me, and I got overwhelmed. That's all I wanted to say today, guys. I will be posting hobby updates here, so expect to see some of my works in progress and some of the ideas that I have in the future to be posted here. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave any comments or criticisms below. I try and respond to everybody. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a great day, everybody.